All right, good evening, everybody. Do an audio check here real quick. All right, good evening, everybody. Perfect. We are going to get started here. We're going to go over a little bit about what's to come over the next 24 to 36 hours. We have a lot of talk about some storms tomorrow, a lot of wind, some flash freezing even. We're going to break down timing, impacts, and everything you guys need to know regarding this system. So let me know here in chat where you're watching from. Would appreciate you guys tuning in here, letting us know where we're reaching at. But I'm not going to waste any time here. We'll read comments after I'm done. This shouldn't take too long. I just want to get through the gist of it so you guys can get the information you need. So let's go ahead and start here. I'll take the cameras off the screen. Tomorrow we are seeing several forms of weather, from rain, thunderstorms, perhaps even some snow, a lot of wind, and icy conditions. So let's start with what we know is going to happen tomorrow. So from the prediction center, we have a thunderstorm risk across much of the state. So from Fort Wayne down to about Lafayette, toward about Terre Haute, Vincennes, all the way down through Evansville, point southward, and also to the east there from Bloomington through Muncie, Richmond, up into Fort Wayne. This is your general thunderstorm risk. Now, we did have a low-end severe risk that went up into like Jasper, Corydon, Evansville area, but they have since taken that out due to not enough instability or storm fuel to really build up and fuel those gusty storms. So what that means is, hey, we could have some storms tomorrow. Don't be shocked if you hear some thunder across the areas here in light green color. If you're up here in the white color, you guys are still getting rain, but overall the storm fuel is higher to your south, which is why there's a thunderstorm risk off to your south. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into forecast models. So on your screen here is your future radar, and the time up in the top right corner of the screen is in Eastern time. So current time is 8:52 p.m. here on Wednesday evening. So hourly increments going out into tomorrow morning. We're dry for the most part tonight. We wake up tomorrow morning around sunrise, 7 a.m. Eastern. We are going to be looking at some scattered rain showers across the western and perhaps northern parts of the state. As we push toward the noon time frame, though, we see a line of gusty showers and, again, perhaps a rumble of thunder develop off to our west in Illinois. Before that arrives, though, we're going to have some scattered showers, perhaps a rumble of thunder out ahead of this as early as that 7 to 8 a.m. time frame, but it really starts getting more scattered to widespread around that noon, 11 to noon time frame tomorrow. Now, the gustiest storms are going to arrive roughly around 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern across the western counties of Indiana. And this is going to push eastward with time, but it's going to clear us pretty quickly. With this line, though, we could and likely will see gustier winds with it. We're talking up to 40, perhaps 50 mile per hour winds with this line. Personally, I would not be shocked we see a couple stronger gusts, but overall severe concern is much lower than what it was yesterday. But still, gusty winds possible. So this is 3 p.m. here. Let's go ahead and bump this to 4 p.m. We're central Indiana now, from South Bend down to about Indianapolis, down through Evansville. Here at 5 p.m., that continues off to the east. 6 p.m., it starts to clear off into Ohio from Fort Wayne, down entering Richmond area, all the way down here through Seymour and back toward Louisville, Kentucky. And by about 7 o'clock or so, that main line is pushed off into Ohio, but then we do have some residual showers behind that system that will continue. Pushing this into the late evening time frame, this is when our concern focuses in on potentially freezing or a flash freeze, because temperatures are going to drop rapidly behind this line, and even could get a quick burst of snow showers around that midnight time frame into Friday morning. Accumulation with this could be about an inch or two in the very far northern part of Indiana here. But here's another model basically showing you snowfall accumulation behind this system. For the most part, for areas north of Indianapolis, I-70, less than a half inch is expected. But up by the Michigan border there, we could get a quick burst by Elkhart, South Bend, Mishawaka areas. So be mindful of that if you're traveling late tomorrow into early Friday. We could see a little bit of a burst of snow there. Won't be major, but enough to slick up roadways. Speaking of slick roadways, the main concern here, backing this up, this is quite a bit of rain moving through the state tomorrow. But there's also going to be a gap here between the rain and when freezing temperatures move in. Let's go ahead and talk temperatures here throughout the next 24 hours. Let's run this into Thursday. Tomorrow's going to be quite warm in nature. We're talking low to mid 50s for quite a big chunk of the state, if not all the state. By the mid-afternoon time frame, we are all in the 50s here. And a very sharp cold front here with that line moving through is going to drop us initially from about 50 to 55 down to about 40 to 45. So about a 10-degree drop initially. But then continue this on into the evening hours, we are going to look at a very sharp drop-off. So here we go. There's the first drop-off. We're back into the about 40 or so, high 30s. As we move this into the 9 to 10 p.m. time frame, check out temperatures moving in from Illinois. We're talking low 20s and even teens moving in very rapidly here. And by about 2 to 3 a.m., everything across Indiana is well below freezing. And we are looking at any wet roadways left over from the prior rain, it will freeze. Now, it's a possible flash freeze, and it's possible for a reason. And that reason is largely based due to the winds. Wind gusts tomorrow, starting about sunrise through about 10 a.m., they're going to ramp up. We're talking 30 to as much as 50 mile per hour gusts across the state. But as we move through the afternoon hours, wind gusts start to ramp up. Here about 2 o'clock, we're seeing gusts up to 50 miles per hour on the models here. Further south, right around 45 to 50. That line will move through. A bit of a break, but this is important because this part of the system, this part is dry. It's gusty, but it's also dry. So when the rain moves out and the flash or the cold air comes in, there's a gap there. That gap and that wind on top of that may evaporate and dry up some of the roads. So the flash freeze may not be widespread, but any surfaces that are still wet when temperatures drop below freezing will freeze. So it's a possible flash freeze, probably not widespread, but areas and mostly rural areas will see freezing roadways Friday morning. So be mindful of that, especially for your commute. That colder air is also accompanied with another secondary push of wind out of the northwest. And again, gusts up to right around 40 or so are possible overnight into Friday morning before they let up Friday around sunrise into the noon time frame. So overall, pretty gusty day tomorrow, but do expect winds to start to be out of the southwest. So throughout the morning and afternoon hours, winds are going to be out of the southwest here, blowing to the northeast. Then as that cold front arrives later on, the winds will shift out of the northwest to the southeast. So a bit of a wind shift there with that cold front moving through. So overall, putting it together, rain, a few storms. Those storms could be gusty. Would not be shocked to see 1 or 2 severe storms tomorrow due to wind. There's no threat for hail. There is very minimal threat for anything tornadic, so we're not concerned about those 2 hazards. But wind is a concern here, so isolated power outages are possible. But then the main concern there later on in the evening, as a secondary cold front arrives, will drop temperatures quite rapidly and potentially freeze anything that is wet after it. That is your forecast. Any questions, drop them in chat now while you guys do that. A lot of you guys are asking us, what is Christmas looking like? What's the next 7 to 10 days looking like? And the answer is quite warm. This is a 15-day temperature chart out of the Indianapolis area. As you can see, Christmas, Thursday, December 25th here, right here, in Indianapolis is currently shown at 56 degrees. So if you're hoping for a white Christmas, your chances are quite low. The best chance for a white Christmas this year, way up by the Michigan border, where lake effect could kick up in some systems between now and the 25th of the month. So overall, not a high chance this year for a white Christmas. But the good news is we are breaking that Arctic pattern we've been in. Less snow chances overall for those of you who hate winter. It's good news. But overall, warmer pattern develops here and continues through about Christmas, perhaps just a bit after. After that, we're seeing signs are going to get a little bit colder based on the pattern we're seeing. But overall, a nice warmer pattern to deal with. So let's go ahead and talk questions here. I'll go ahead and flip it back here to my handy dandy models. Let's go ahead and scroll chat here. Who we got? We got Bob, we got Layla, Matt, Corey, Julie. Not too many questions, guys. Now is your time if you want to hop in and ask. Feel free. More snow in Goshen. It won't be a lot of snow. 1 inch or 2 at most. But if you have travel plans tomorrow morning, you guys need to be aware. Slick conditions from potential ice as well further north from the snow may be a concern. When does the rain and wind start in the morning? I live in Northwest Indiana. Worried about how the morning will look. in terms of freezing temperatures, you are good. But the rain and wind, let's go ahead and talk about the rain here. We could have rain showers as early as 6 to 7 a.m. for you guys up there in the northwest part of the state. But the heavier rain will hold off until right around that, we're going to say noon to 2 p.m. time frame for you guys up there, assuming you're in Central Time, about noon to 2 p.m. And if you're at Eastern, you're about an hour after those times, so about 1 to 3. That will continue, and it'll end roughly right around 6 to 7 o'clock again. And then behind that, we could have some lingering snow showers, perhaps some showers behind it, but those shouldn't accumulate very much. In terms of wind, let's go and pull up the wind map here. Wind is really going to start ramping up here as early as about that 4 to 5 a.m. time frame, but it really starts kicking up when the sun comes up. And by about 11 o'clock to 12, we are seeing a really big increase from about 35 miles per hour up to 50 in terms of our gusts. So from about that mid-morning time frame, expect gusts to start picking up there for you guys up in northwest Indiana. Predictions for next snow event, Dakota, not for a while. Unless you count tomorrow as a snow event, we're not looking at any long-term snowfall out there. It's going to be quite warm, so it's going to be hard to come by next 10 days or so. Joined late, when will the rain start in Anderson? So going through the hour by hour one more time here, we could have rain beginning up in the western northern part of the state as early as 6 to 7 a.m. Moving this into the mid to late morning time frame, we're going to start seeing those showers, perhaps rumble of thunder increase right around 9 to 11 o'clock. The heavier rain holds off, though, in this line until the afternoon, mid-afternoon or so, about 2 to 3 p.m. on the western half of the state, and then central Indiana, about 3 to 5 p.m., and then the eastern half of the state from about 4 to, we're going to say 7 p.m. for the heaviest and gustiest rain. But we could have showers out there as early as sunrise tomorrow. How will the wind chills be? We have finals Thursday and Friday for most of us here. Good question there. Wind chills, we'll go ahead and break out another model here. Flip it over here to what we call apparent temperature. That is your wind chill. Back this up to the latest forecast model. So here's your wind chills throughout tonight. 20s up in the northern part, 30s and 40s down further south. Tomorrow, 50s for high temperatures across the state. Here comes your wind chills. And yes, by Friday morning, the northern half of the state is just a slight tad below zero. We're at -2, -3-ish. North of I-70, if you're along or south, you look to be right around 0 to about 10 further south there toward the Ohio River, Kentucky border area. Evansville at 19, it says. Let's run this continuing. Yeah, about the worst of it looks to be right around that sunrise Friday. So if you're going to school Friday, if schools are in session, you guys will be quite cold out there, no matter if you're up in the northern half of the state where the worst of it is, or further south, you guys are still going to be quite cold. Could there be severe thunderstorm warnings due to the winds? Juno, it is a possibility. I'm not going to say it is a high possibility, but it is a possibility that we're watching. Gusty winds within that line will likely top 40 to 50. Isolated areas would not be shocked to see 60, which is your criteria for those warnings. Wouldn't be surprised to see 1 or 2 across the state. No problem, Mike. Glad to be here. No problem, Bobby. Any other questions? Feel free to drop them in chat, guys. I'll be on here for a few more minutes. So if you have questions, now's your time to ask. We're very interactive here. So if you want a question answered, feel free to pop it in chat. But if there are no more questions, we'll pop out of here soon. But I do want to make sure everybody's accounted for and is up to date with the information. Taking a peek across the state here with the camera network. Here in Bluffton, starry skies tonight, clear. There in Bourbon, Indiana, at Bourbon Autonomous Yard Equipment. Again, clear skies are shown there. Here in Clinton, Indiana, we got Black Diamond Fire Department. Nice starry sky out there as well. High-tech electric camera in Fort Wayne. Beautiful views tonight. Up in the Lake Michigan area in Gary, Wells Street Beach. Pleasant evening up there. Not warm enough for a swim, but still pleasant. Mishawaka Cam, Horner Roofing and Siding. We got a nice view there in Mishawaka facing the west. Here in Jasper County in Rensselaer, we got a camera at Jasper County REMC facing to the west here. Looking pretty nice out there as well. It's a clear night. Over on the west side of the state, Vermilion EMA sponsored this camera here overlooking the highway. Appreciate all of our camera sponsors. We're going to continue to grow this network as we get into the 2026 storm season. We're excited to grow it. What time will it start changing in Porter County? Changing to what? From snow, you mean, Gloria? I'm assuming you mean snow. So the model has a burst of snow roughly between 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern, so 9 to 10 Central Time for you guys up there. For those of you in Central Time. How about Terre Haute? How bad will it be? In terms of the gusty winds, we're talking statewide gusts between 40 to 50 miles per hour. Doesn't matter if you're in Terre Haute, Richmond, Fort Wayne, Gary, Evansville. 40 to 50 is your going rate. In terms of the dropping temperatures, the entire state has a potential to see icy conditions across the state for Thursday late evening into Friday morning. So really it's the same across the estate. There's no one who's getting it worse than other people. The only thing that's changing really with this system is your snow. And that is shown to be a little bit higher for accumulations north of I-70 here, but especially up by the Michigan border, up here by South Bend, Elkhart area, 1 to 2 inches being shown. Elsewhere, less than a half inch. If you're really far south, a trace to pretty much nothing expected down there. No problem, Gloria. How likely are school delays, closures on Friday due to the freeze? I'm in Bloomington. Courtney, great question. There is a good chance that schools will close, but here's the but. Only if we see a widespread flash freeze. If the wind between the rain and the dropping temperatures, there's going to be wind there. That could evaporate some of the moisture on the roads. If a lot of it dries up, we're not going to have very many people see icy conditions. But if we don't dry up completely, at that point, I would fully expect there to be quite a few closures across the state. Regardless, temperatures are still quite cold across northern Indiana, so still could be some delays there mixed in. But it's going to come down to how much of this moisture evaporates between the rain and those freezing temperatures hitting us late evening tomorrow. So I'm going to say it's a 50-50 shot either way. Good chance, but there are some caveats that could lead it to the other side. That makes sense. I fly out of Fort Wayne to Florida 9:30 tomorrow morning. I wouldn't expect there to be delays, Tina. The only thing I could see is potential wind impacting your flight, but still, 9:30 is early enough. You should get out of there before the worst of the wind hits. So I'm going to say minimal delays for you guys. You should be good. All right, last call for questions. No problem. We'll be doing a lot more streams here in the future. We've been working hard behind the scenes to get 2026 to be a big year for us, so expect to see us on here doing these update briefings for you guys, answering Q&A, stuff like that a lot more often going forward. Maxwell, there will be a low chance for lightning. We do have a thunderstorm risk in effect for, I'm going to say 75 to 80% of the state tomorrow. Anywhere in light green has potential to see thunder tomorrow. So low chance, not a very high chance, but still a chance if you're a chaser. We take it. Aaron, accumulation for snow will be minimal with this system. 1 to 2 inches across very far northern Indiana by South Bend. That's all we're seeing. We could see a quick dusting with snow. In terms of rainfall, let's talk rainfall quickly here in case anybody's curious on that. I know it's boring to talk rain, but in terms of total rainfall, right around a half inch or so is the going rate across the state for this system. We could see a few areas with 3/10, some areas with 6/10, about a half inch. I am too, Corey. We are ready for these 2026 chasing season. We are there. All right. I don't see more questions here, so I'm going to hop out of here. Follow the page for more updates. We'll be live potentially tomorrow afternoon to give an update on latest data if need be. But overall, expect there to be at least isolated slick spots throughout Thursday night into Friday morning. Be prepared for gusty winds tomorrow. Isolated power outages are possible, and also a couple severe storms not out of the question with this system. And then, of course, watch for those dropping temperatures later on, which could result into a flash freeze event starting about 9 to 10 p.m. across western Indiana, about midnight for eastern Indiana. With that being said, you guys enjoy your evening. I will be out of here. Stay safe, guys. Catch you later.